Shyway is a professional Halo player with over 60,000 subscribers, and he boasts a dedicated stream of over 6 years of gaming content on YouTube. But all of that was gone in an instant.
So my YouTube account was hacked and hijacked 9 days ago and then turned into a Ripple live stream, and it was then taken down due to a trademark violation.
You see, his channel had been hacked, his content replaced, and his email compromised. And although Shyway was only one of several creators caught up in this scam, what made this so much worse was YouTube's response. Join me as we journey through this creator's terrible experience with YouTube, find out if he got his channel back, and recognize that for some reason, YouTube has a problem they clearly have no interest in solving. But before I get into that, if you like this episode of Balanced Takes, like the video and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode. And follow me on X, formerly Twitter, or I'll go back in time and make Twitch and YouTube less successful than Facebook Live. This all started on December 8th, and by his own admission, he was tricked by a fake sponsorship offer and asked to sign an NDA. By the context he gave, one can assume he likely got strung along with a chain of correspondence with a malicious actor on Twitter, until finally receiving an innocent document in the form of a PDF that unfortunately had a malware executable embedded within.
How did that get in there?
That malware gained access to the login information of his YouTube, Gmail, and Twitter accounts, and bypassed his two-factor authentication on YouTube, which was supposed to have stopped this hack in the first place, and changed his passwords so he couldn't get back in, all in a matter of 30 seconds. Now, I imagine if you're a figure of any profile, getting emails or messages about potential sponsorship is somewhat commonplace. After all, Shyway had about 60,000 subscribers, and considering that he was a competitive online player in a game called Halo, he likely had a dedicated niche, which also followed him on Twitch, and he had likely had multiple previous sponsors. So it wouldn't be all that strange to get an invitation to promote some energy drink, or browser, or gaming chair, or in this case, a fake SteelSeries product.
No, you can't do that! You can't fake the achievements! They have to be approved!
When he obviously has so many eyes from what appears to be a dedicated following. Problem is though, if he was being specifically targeted, which I suspect might be the case, then the people doing the phishing scam would have put extra effort to make it look as authentic as possible. For common people like you and I, quickly checking the sending email address, if it's email, or if it's a message from a different platform, hovering the links to verify that they go where they should, checking spelling, making sure they're downloadable executable files, etc., would work to screen out a commonplace scam. But if you're being targeted in a hit, they may go as far as to spoof an authentic email address or authentic greeting in a direct message and try to copy the heading or the layout of emails and messages from authentic companies to make it look as real as possible. Because remember, those crazy desperate pleas from Nigerian princes with billions of dollars of gold to give away, those are only half the scam. The real scam, if you're unfortunate as to encounter them, are the emails and notifications hand-tailored to you specifically.
Specially made just for you.
And since you have become so comfortable with obvious scams, there may be no easy way to immediately weed out the dangerous ones. On the 11th, he posted this, mentioning how awful the hacking situation had become and implying that a number of people, other than Shyway himself, had been hacked. And that's when it became obvious that several creators had been hit in this scheme, having their entire channel converted to Ripple?
What?
Now, it isn't that important to know what Ripple is, only that it's the network and the protocol that the cryptocurrency XRP uses, and that the hackers converted these channels to advertise for Ripple. It might not make much sense since these were medium profile creators, and such a hack would definitely not go unnoticed, but in my opinion, it was likely more nefarious than your average crypto scheme. But let's continue. On the 15th, a full week later, he continued to lament that his channel had been terminated, although he tried not to let that dull his spirits as he factory reset his computer to eliminate whatever malware still resided on it, and resumed streaming on Twitch. And 2 days later, Team YouTube replied to this tweet with a clearly automated message, either because it saw the keywords YouTube and terminated, or because their Twitter bot picked up his followers spam tagging Team YouTube on his post.
Mom.
Finally, Shyway himself made a video summarizing the experience. His Gmail was stolen, although he was able to get that back early on. YouTube partner support informed him that a trademark violation had been placed on his channel due to the hackers advertising for Ripple, and that there was nothing they could do about it. He had to contact the Google team to get that removed and his channel reinstated, and they left him zero instructions on how to get his channel back or how to contact said team, although he filed an appeal on an older email he had received from YouTube during the hack. Naturally, there was no response to this, and he vented his frustration about the lack of communication from YouTube and Google, who, by the way, are the same company. Now, in my opinion, this is the most strange part of the entire situation, because there are three separate threads going on here at once. One, YouTube's automated responses are completely useless.
Whoa, what the heck? Beep, beep, beep.
2, the YouTube partner team telling him,
That's rough, buddy.
And 3, the Gmail team is just AFK at this point.
You hear that?
Why the YouTube partner team doesn't just reach out to Google themselves? I don't know. Isn't that part of their job? I would assume this is the entire reason for having them, so creators don't have to navigate through this garbage. Also, if YouTube knows the channel is hacked, then why is there no consistent communication? No updates, no next steps, and no rollback or instant restoration of his account. Nothing, just consigned to the void.
Soon, you will fade away into nothing.
I feel like even the DMV could have gotten this problem resolved in less time.
We gotta beat the rush hour in. It's night!
And of course, the most insulting part about this entire situation is how the automated response from YouTube blames him for his channel getting nuked. Oh, and did you notice that little 1 out of 2 at the bottom of YouTube's message? Yeah, I didn't miss it. There's a second half. They replied further down on the same post as before, but instead of in line with the first response, because apparently their bot doesn't know how to reply like a human being, it actually generated 2 separate responses that weren't in line with each other. The second half of the response was so buried in the thread that it took me a while to find it. Now you might say, oh, Song, this is just way too frustrating for a creator. This is way too frustrating for Shyway to go through. Obviously YouTube was not interested in being helpful. Why not just call it quits and start over? Make a second channel. But for one, all of his old content would be gone, as he had no backups. And even if Shyway used his audience to merely migrate to a second channel and start clean, there's a good chance that YouTube would ban it as well. Considering it to be ban evasion, you think YouTube's being unhelpful now? Just wait till he gets a second channel, and that also gets struck down. Furthermore, if he is getting any revenue from the previous channel, the moment he attempts to attach it to the new channel, YouTube will recognize it, flag it, and have that channel removed. But let's continue. On the 19th, he posts again on his X, relaying how Google had now obliterated his YouTube channel completely, with the URL having been removed, and whatever email he had associated with that channel, it had been unlinked. While it is a bit unclear from his explanation, I assume that his terminated channel had been in limbo for a while, with the URL still working, but now it seemed well and truly gone.
Reduced to atoms.
Imagine being Shyway right now, going back and forth with YouTube, not getting any responses, but you at least had that one last hope that you could get your channel back. But one day you go and check and the only update you have is the channel's completely gone. Of course, YouTube took the time to blame Shyway for the incident, saying it was his fault that the channel was terminated without warning.
It does not make sense!
They even provided a really nicely unhelpful link about what is or isn't allowed, which makes no sense because he wasn't the one that perpetrated the hack in the first place. And it isn't until the 20th of December that he finally appears to have gotten hold of a real person to help him. Keep in mind, this is almost full 2 weeks of his followers tagging YouTube and his complaints going viral on X. In fact, that's how I found out about it in the first place. And YouTube finally decided to treat him like a customer. And on the 24th, the day that I started working on the script for this video, ironically, YouTube restores his channel, which you should find interesting because that says they could have done that the entire time. He posts this follow-up thanking his followers for their timely intervention, which is fortunate for him because I surmise that after 30 days, based on how things were going, his channel wouldn't have been in limbo anymore. It would have been completely gone.
Yep. Oh, okay.
I sincerely would not wish this on any other creators, as this is truly a nightmare scenario. Years of work flushed down the drain all because he accidentally trusted a fake sponsorship. And the platform, which prides itself on being supposedly great for creators, would barely spare him the time of day to help this man recover his livelihood. Some random hacker on Twitter, who probably had a VPN that routed through every third world country on the globe, managed to convince YouTube to flush Shyway's channel down the drain, and for what? And that makes me wonder, was this intentional? Were Shyway and others targeted purposefully? Was this some part of grudge, or was it just some hacker trying to prove a point? Or gain prestige? Unfortunately, this part of the mystery we'll never have any resolution to. I'm not a hacker, so I don't know what to tell you. But what I do know is that YouTube's response here was pretty bad, and it leaves us with a lot of other unanswered questions. Google owns YouTube, so they are completely capable of having cross-sector communications if they want to. There was an issue of his Gmail being hacked because, as he discussed in his explanation video, after emailing with Team YouTube, he was able to get his Gmail account back fairly quickly, which means they knew he had gotten hacked and let his channel stay going for reasons. He can't contact the people he needs to at Google for the trademark violation for reasons. And they tell him that they can't do anything about it for, you guessed it, reasons.
I I have sustained you, and I can destroy you.
If it was just a matter of time for them to take the steps necessary to verify everything and restore a channel, then why did they tell them that there was nothing they could do? If it was a matter of this other team verifying the trademark issue, then why didn't they send him to that team and continue to communicate and follow up with Shyway to ensure that his issue was remedied? Maybe I'm being callous, super critical. Perhaps there's this massive backlog of issues that Google and YouTube is dealing with, and one of a million of these issues was Shyway's unfortunate circumstance. But even if that were the case, they should still take the time to treat him like a human being with basic customer service. This all chalks up to poor communication within the organization, lack of communication with their customer, and lack of will. YouTube knew Shyway had a problem, didn't report up the chain of command to get it resolved, had no interest in helping beyond just getting the email back, and essentially blamed him for something that he didn't do. And considering that YouTube's two-factor authentication failed here, or at least how it's structured and what all you can do at the same time within the same session, and all that was needed was a rollback over the previous 48 to 72 hours of changes, YouTube should have compensated him from the damages he suffered during the hack, and for the lack of response to it. In my opinion, the way YouTube has application structured directly led to the ease of this hack. Logging into the YouTube console is one thing, but going in and be able to change the password, change the entire structure of the channel, all within that same session without requiring another ping of the two-factor authentication, I think is a very poor way of doing things. He at the bare minimum should have gotten an email and a two-factor authentication notification, which I assume is by either an application key or a text message that requires him to follow up before the password can be changed and before all these massive account changes could occur. Because as we saw from the screenshot, it wiped all his previous videos and replaced them with a bunch of Ripple nonsense. And it seems that they are at least somewhat aware of these problems and have tried to bandage it with automated responses, which don't really help as they immediately get sniffed out as bots, or at least copy-pasted responses from some random intern, enforcing the belief that YouTube does not care about his creators. In the end, it seems like the only way to get YouTube's attention is to nag them until they finally listen.
Mom? Mom?
Maybe Shyway just fell through the cracks. Perhaps this situation was just a one-off, and it isn't commonplace. But a simple search of this tells me that, sadly, is not the case. The takeaway here isn't that complicated. YouTube needs to do better. Basic customer service is not difficult. Step away from all the automated systems and have actual people trained to talk with and follow up with their creators. Perhaps it's an issue of money. Perhaps they don't have the funding to have tons of customer support everywhere to reach all their creators. Then they need to not have a tight fist on how their platform is run. Perhaps open up to a community of judges that can work either based on the local area or based on the niches of each creator. Perhaps it isn't an issue of money and they simply don't feel like hiring people to be able to do the job. Or then again, maybe there's no problem whatsoever and they just don't have the willpower to train their customer service reps or their liaisons to actually properly communicate with the creators. But whatever it is, this situation has been around for far too long and it needs to have a resolution. There's no big secret or moral nuance here for me to dig up. We need less smooth talk from YouTube and more action. Because all I see from YouTube on this issue and from other issues in the past is nice words with a beautiful veneer of helping while doing the exact opposite. Where have I heard that before?
I'm saying what I care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil.
Anyway, those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comment section down below your compliments or criticisms, and I'll see you again next time. Happy New Year!